And we are live. Okay, cool. Give it a couple minutes, wait for a few more people to jump on board, and then we'll start the stream properly. Yo, what's up? We'll be starting in just a sec. Just wait for a few more people to jump on. I said we'll start at 8, but I started the stream early just because I get bored waiting, so... Yo, what's going on? All right, wicked. 6 people, yes, come on. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, screw it. I'm just gonna get started. I only want to be on here for like an hour or so. Well, first of all, hello, good evening, welcome to school. Yeah, so I have a whiteboard. Oh, hello, Josh. So I have a whiteboard, and I got this idea from this K-pop girl who was like streaming on TikTok, and she was doing like Korean lessons, and I'm like, God damn, I'm not a K-pop idol, but I can definitely get a whiteboard and start doing some lessons on like music theory and talk about stuff on here. So here we go. So first of all, we're going to talk about diads. So the diads are 2-note chords. Okay, that's all it means. So diads could be anything. So I'm going to use a guitar for this. So anything that's 2 chords. Let's use this because it's close. So I don't even think this is properly in tune either. Possible. Anyway, whatever. So a normal power chord, just 7th fret on A, 9th fret of D. That's a diad chord. These minor diads, of course, are diads. You got the majors here. You could have like these flat second ones there, and these strange major 7 shapes here. I'm going to swap guitars and use the orange guitar actually, because it actually has fret markers, and it probably makes it a lot easier, and it's kind of nice to play. Oh, thank you, Josh, for the for the donation. You don't need to donate to me. It's cool, but you know, I really appreciate it, bruv. And yeah. All right, so back to diads. So that's any 2-note chords, and you've probably played them. So it's going from like the power chords, you know, with the sharp and 5th, you know, 4th chords here, and of course the major and minor diad shapes. So that's the first thing. So what we need to figure out now is how to create a diad, a 2-note chord. So the first thing you always will need is a root note, okay, which is like the main note, like the key, the tonic, or whatever you wanna call it. Okay, so the easiest way to build diads and diad chord shapes is by using scales, because the scales make the whole process and the understanding so much easier. Yeah. So can I just get like some yeses or thumbs up if everyone is understanding everything at the moment? Because I just don't. Yeah, I don't want, if because it feels like I'm speaking to air sometimes, because there's no response. But that's like the main thing. Okay, so if you want to write this down, this is important because I might have to like rub this out soon. but we'll keep it for now. So first of all, we're just going to talk about the most simple minor scale. Okay, so we're going to talk about the A minor scale. Okay, cool. Now, my handwriting is terrible, first of all, so yeah, just be aware of that. And does anyone actually know what the notes are in the A minor scale? If you can put it in the chat, that would be handy. That's correct. Yes, there's no flats, but what's the notes like in order? Yes, perfect. So we have notes A, B, C, D, E. Oops, clearly I can't write. E, F, and G, and then of course we go back to A. All right. So your root note is here in your A minor scale. Now, you might have seen some videos on me talking about how to create chords, and this is basically how you do it. So to create a normal kind of diatonic dyad, with like the first like black metal music, whatever black metal guitar lesson I made on the channel was all about diatonic dyads, and I'll write that here. So diatonic means in the key, basically the scale. Okay, there we go. So diatonic means it's in the key and in the scale. So you can make chords using these notes in the scale. And the quickest way to build a traditionally black metal sounding dyad is to start on one note, then skip a note and go to the next note. Okay, so if we're starting on A, to build the dyad, that'll be using the C note. And that's an interval chord a minor third. Damn, I cannot write. I'm going to write this properly. My writing sucks. Okay, minor third. Okay, so there we go. A small m and a 3. Okay, so a root plus a minor third equals a minor dyad. Okay, so minor dyad is a root note plus minor third. Okay, so that's the first thing. Now, another really important thing with your minor thirds and your minor dyads is to understand the fret distance between the notes. So let's go back to the guitar. Let's make it actually practical. Okay, so to make things as simple as possible, we're going to continue using the A minor scale, and of course the A minor scale, your starting note is A. So we can just use the A string. Okay, so let's refer back to the notes in the scale. So the minor third is the note which is C. So which note? Okay, this is a question for the chat whilst I sip my tea. So if we're starting on the A string, on which fret is the C note? The nearest C note from the open A. Anybody know? Banging, yeah, that's it, 3rd fret. Big man ting. Okay, cool. So a minor third is a 3 fret distance. Okay, because 0 plus 1, 2, 3 is a minor third. Now let's put these two notes together, and I'm going to play an A note and a C note. So another place where we have an A note on the fretboard is the low E string on the 5th fret. There's our A note, and then we play our C note here, and already we've built up a your A minor dyad. Okay, so that's the first thing to figure out. Okay, now another type of interval. Just thinking, what's the best way to move forward with this? Okay, cool. We are going to talk about the major dyads now. Open A, 10 on D. 10 on D. Do you know what? That does work, but it's not the closest one. So that's the thing, like it's never like wrong, but you know, that kind of works. You can make riffs, yeah. 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 Cool. But you know, that's the thing, like working backwards and doing things differently and not following things is totally okay because there's no rules to this stuff, and that's what makes it difficult, but whatever. I don't know Angan tier, but yeah, so many bands use this kind of like open string thing. We'll talk about that in a moment. But what we're also going to talk about now and what we're going to discuss are the next chords in the scale. Okay, so I'm going to rub out a few things. If you want to write what we have down so far, write it down, because I'm going to get rid of a lot of this stuff or screenshot or whatever. And follow me on Insta and TikTok if you haven't already. All right, I'm rubbing this shit out now. Okay, so we're going to stick to the scale. So we know now, and I'm going to put numbers here as well, because this is quite important. So chord number 1, the first chord in the A minor scale, we know contains the notes A and C. Actually, let me write it down a bit more properly. So chord number 1 includes the notes A and C, and we know that is minor. So in the music theory term, it's a 1. I'm going to use Roman numerals. So it's a 1 minor. So the first chord in the key of A is a minor chord. So there we have the notes A and C, and that is our dyad. Okay, I'm just going to use a D for the key, basically. Just keep things simple. Abbreviation. There we go. Now let's do the same thing here. So we want to work out the second chord in the key. We're only thinking of dyads, 2 notes chords. So remember, if we're starting here, we're going to skip a note and do the next note. In this 2 chord, in the second chord here, what are the notes going to be? B and what? Put it in the chat, guys. Put it in the chat. Let's put it in the chat. Let's go. Let's go. Speed, 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 and power. So B, 2 notes up from B is what? And yes, this live will remain on the channel. All my live streams are there. All right, cool. Excellent. So we now know that the next chord in the scale is B and D. Now, do you guys know how many frets there are between the B note and the D note? What's the fret distance between those 2 notes? Because I'll give you the answer in just a second. Yep, 3 frets, because we need to include that first note. So let's go back to our fretboard and our guitar. So we now know, of course, the open A is the A note. The 3rd fret on A is a C. And we've also worked out that the A note is also the same as the open A, the A note on the low E string on the 5th fret. So let's just keep things starting on the low E just because it makes things easier to visualize. So we've got our first chord here, C, I'm sorry, losing it, A minor here. A, and C. 5 and 3 on E and A. Now, we wanted a B note to start off with. So it's the 7th fret on the low E, or the 2nd fret of the A string. And then we go up to the next D note here. So it's here, 2 frets down from this E here. So you got B and D. So you got 1, 2, 3 frets. You know, a kind of death metal thing. 3 frets. So that makes it a what? So if you've got a 3 fret distance and you're playing a B and D together, does that make it minor or major? Let's see who's been listening. So it's the exact same chord shape. So it must be what? Exactly, yeah. So chord 1, A minor. Chord 2 is B minor. Okay, so that's going down on the whiteboard. So the 2nd chord is minor. Okay, cool. So now let's continue. Let's move on. So I'm just going to fill in some of the blanks. I'm just going to write all of the Roman numerals down for the chords, just in preparation. So let's do the same method because I believe this is going to be a lot quicker. So without working, so we're going to just figure out all the notes first, and then we're going to work out if they're major or minor. So the next notes now, chord number 3 is what? We've got a C here, D, E, F, and G. Okay, so the next chord, the next note up from C. Yep, someone's just got it. A, B normal. Yep, he's got it. So there we go. We got C. And remember, you skip the note, go to the next note, to E. Okay, and now we're seeing a pattern form here. So you've got A, B, C, D, E, F, G for the root notes, and then for the thirds, we just use the other notes of the scale. So we've got C, D, E. Then what's next for chord number 4? And 5, 6, and 7. Yep, cool. F, let's keep going. Yes, G. Yep. Yep, and the last one here. Oh, I'll fill it in. Right, B. Okay. So these are all of the major and the minor diads within the key of A minor. Okay. So here's another thing to note. I'm gonna erase a few things on here. So I'm gonna keep the scale part. Okay. So how many frets are there between A and C? So in a minor diad, how many frets are there in between the two notes? Let me just look at this properly rather than... Okay, so in a minor third, how many frets are there from the root note to the minor third? How many frets? Yeah, cool. K Rich got it. So you got 3 frets. Okay, now does anyone know how many frets there are between a root note and the major third? So the major third, we use a triangle. So minor, we use small m. Major, we use triangles. Yeah, Kevin got it. 4 frets. Okay, so that's the biggest difference between the minor and the major thirds is that there's a 1 fret distance between the two notes. So let's work this out now. So from C to E on the guitar, do you guys know how many frets there are between the C note Where is the C note? See if I could do it a bit more aesthetically. There we go. So you got a C note here. How many frets up do we go? Yep, that's it. You guys got it. 4 frets up. So C, is that going to be major or minor? So we've got A minor, B minor, and C. Is that going to be major or minor? Yes, Tim got it. Major. So we don't write a triangle here. You can do, or you can just leave it there. I'm just going to keep the triangle there just to keep it a bit more orderly. Okay, now the next one. D to F. How many frets distance are there? Tell me the frets and whether it's major or minor. So you get a D note. We've got to find the next F. Yep. A, B normal, got it. 3 frets, so that makes it minor. All right. Now, E. E to G. How many frets? Yep. A, B normal, got it again. So it's another minor here. Okay. Now, quickly, F to A and G to B. How many frets? You can use your guitars for this. That's all good. Yep. Yep. Both of the next 2 chords are major diads. Okay. So, actually, no, they shouldn't be like circular. That means something else in music theory. Yeah. So we're just gonna keep the M's. Okay. So when we're harmonizing in diads using 2 notes, yeah, yeah, we've got minor diad, major, minor, minor, major, major. So now let's learn these on the guitar. All right, cool. It's got like this weird, like this is so new that it's got like all of the like the weird wood shavings at the back, and it's getting all over my clothes. It's very annoying. Yeah. So let's take a photo of this, screenshot it or whatever, because I'm going to move this away for the guitar demonstration and example. Because I'm going to show you the chords first, and then I'm going to show you some other mad things as well. All right, cool. So let's work it out now. And I want you guys to tell me where I should put my fingers. So I'm going to shout out, we're going to do the chords in order, and I want you to tell me where I should put my fingers. So I want like E, X, and AX, or AX and DX, depending on the chord shape. So if I'm going to play an A minor diad, the 2-note chord which we've just learned, which fret do I use on the E string and which fret do I use on the A string? Let's see if you guys remember and are able to tell me. You are the yeah, look at me, I am the student now. So remember, yes, Tim got it. Yes, so 5th fret on E, 3rd fret on A. There is our A minor diad. Cool. Now, where do I put my hand? Where do I put my hand for the B minor diad? The next note up in the scale. I mean, next chord in the key. I've got to use the correct terminology. Yes, man like Kevin got it. Cool. There we go. There's B minor. A, then B. There we go. Cool. Now, C major. I'm already playing it. 3rd fret on A, 2nd fret on D, Or you can also play it on the 7th fret on A and the 8th fret on low E. Yep. So there's C. Now where's D? D major. On which frets can you play that on? Seven on E and 6 on A. That's B major. We want D major. Yep. You can play on 10 on E, 12 on A. That's a D power chord. You're almost there, but yeah. Furio, we're doing diads, but yeah, Tim got it again. 5 on A, D on 4. Yep. You can also play it here. 10 and 9. Yeah, we're talking about diads at the moment. So yeah. There we go. There's D major. Okay, then the next one, chord 5 in the key is E minor. Now everyone should know where that is. E minor diad. The E minor diad. Where's that? Two and two. Not quite. 2 and 2 is an E power chord inversion. But yeah, it's 7 on A, 5 on D. Probably one of the most used chord shapes in black metal. But it's interesting you said the 2 and 2 one, because that's still a diad and it still sounds quite cool. You can still use that. But the issue with this one is that it doesn't have the minor third. It's not really an issue, but it just doesn't have the minor third. Cool. So the next chord up is F. So we want the notes F and A. Where should my hands be for F major? Because remember, E minor here. Let's stick on the same strings now. So A and D. Where do we go for F major? So we want the notes F and A. A8, D7. Yep. There we go, F major. Isn't that like some Nagaroth song? Isn't it like that crying tears of the river thing? E1 and A0, yeah, that can work as well. That lower chord shape sounds quite cool with the octave as well. So 1, 0, 3. Yeah, that's the one. 7 tears of flowing. It's like, yeah, I gigged with Nagaroth years and years back, and they finished with that song. But yeah, never was a Nagaroth fan really. But anyway, cool. So now we get to the final chord in the scale, and we want the notes G and B. Let's keep it on the A and D string. So where is a G major diad? Yep. A10, D9. So there we go. Now we've figured out exactly where all the diads are, basically from the low E to the D string, mostly in this scale. Let's see if you can let's get the guitar in frame. Yeah. So there you can already use these chords to make riffs. So you know, you can do A to B to E, finish on the F. And just mess around with a few things there. But see, we're getting to like the kind of black metal stuff, but we want to make it like a bit more kind of black metal-y sounding. So we can use notes around a certain chord. So I'm going to refer back to I'm going to be using the guitar and the notepad, well, the whiteboard a bit more, and I'm going to remove all of this. So it's all going to be gone. So yeah, if you guys should have been writing this down. And these pens are really annoying to take off. They're like too good for whiteboards. Normally it's just like air, but this one is like, bloody hell, I've got to really lay into it. Okay, so let's put the guitar, the whiteboard down quickly. So now this is the real way to use music theory when making dyad black metal riffs. What we've gone over is the core fundamental to all of this. Oh, cool! Thanks, Nando. And that's pretty much that's pretty much what I'm going to talk about now, is to how to take one note really and change the way it sounds using just like one note differences from certain things. So let's start off with this E minor dyad here. So one cool thing to do is swap between the E minor dyad and the power chord. And now let's talk about the theory behind that, because power chords are very, very important chords for not just heavy metal and black metal, but also all kinds of like rock music and even like classical music and stuff. So we know that a root plus a minor third equals a minor dyad. All right. A minor triad. It is kind of based on the A minor triad. Do you know what? Okay, quick tangent. Archaon, actually, we talked about that riff, and it turns out my riff lesson is wrong. Because there's an extra note in there in the midst of all that chaos. So then, but that first bit, all minor triad. So yeah, I'll probably update that riff lesson at some point. It's just not a priority at the moment. But yeah, I Breathe Spears, that first note, the little n, is all based around that A minor triad. Now let's get back to the let's change colors. Let's use green now. Hang on. Sabaton, hang on, I'm just reading the comments. Sabaton Pinky Corns. Yeah, lots of different bands have used this. So we are going to be doing now, we're going to talk about power chords. Okay, So a power chord is a root note plus an interval called the perfect fifth. We call it the P5. It's written as P5 here. The reason why it's called a perfect fifth is because the fifth notes of both the major and the minor scales are the same. That's why they're called perfect, technically. So a root plus a P5 is a power chord. And does anyone know how many fret distance there is between a root and a perfect fifth? Because the fret distance between a root and a minor third is 3 frets. Does anyone know what it is between like a root to the perfect fifth? Yeah, man like Kevin, 7 frets. Okay, so we got 7 frets. So if you play a note, yeah, 2 across the string, yeah, 1 down and then 2 to the right, but then it changes when you're on the G and the B. But anyway, it's yeah, 7 frets between your root and the perfect fifth. So if you play any note on the guitar and go 7 frets up, you are going to be playing your perfect fifth interval. Okay. Actually, no, we need the whiteboard. I'm going to change the color again. Let's use pink. Let's use pink. Okay. So let's go back to the A minor dyad. Okay. What are the notes in an A minor dyad? Yeah, the flat 5 is a cool one, but I'm not going to bring that one up yet. Come on, we just did this, guys. What's the notes? Have I run out of tea? I'm running out of tea. Yeah. Inversions. We're not talking about the inversions yet, but soon, maybe. Yeah. So the A minor dyad is the notes A and C. Okay. Air conditioning. Now, what about the A power chord? Okay. An A power chord is also called the fifth chord. So, for example, an A power chord will be called A5. So, what's the notes of the A power chord? Use your guitars. Yeah. Cool. Man like Tim got it again. Yeah. A and E. Accident and emergency. Air conditioning, an accident and emergency. Now, that's the music theory. And on the guitar, nice and easy. Minor dyad shape, power chord shape. You can just add your little finger. Like if you're playing the minor, yeah, so whatever way you're playing the minor chord with your middle finger or your ring finger, just add your little finger on the 7th fret on the E. Yeah, an inverted power chord is just, works from the root note, that thing. Yeah, because I've done a lot about these chord shapes in the shorts. I was thinking of doing some, what do you call them? Music theory shorts, which could be kind of cool. But yeah, I just haven't made any yet. So yeah, there we go. But also, this is where it gets super black metal, and this is when it becomes like critical black metal playing, really, is because it's not just your thirds and the power chords, it's all of the other notes around the scale. And then that's how you're going to make dyad style riffs. So let's dive into a bit more of the music theory kind of side of things. And I'm going to try and draw the fretboard. If you want to write this down, this is basically, yeah, this is basically what we've gone over. If you want to write it down, write it down. Similar to the pedal point riffs, just execute it differently, because the pedal point riff it works around like the root notes, i.e., like the bass notes of like that part of the riff or the chord, and then it uses the notes around it. But I'm going to explain it in a bit more musical theory sense now. Okay, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a guitar and put all the well, parts of a fretboard and put some notes down, and kind of thing. What color should we use? I have we haven't used yellow, we haven't used red or blue. How do you do polls on this thing? uh, how do I? There we go. A pen color. Hang on. Okay. We're gonna go with red, orange, blue, like a light blue, or oh, there's two greens. Fuck it, or we just ball and go pink. All right, here we go. Let's see. Hello. Let's see the poll. Oh shit, it's between red and orange. Let's go. God, I'll give it like another 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6. Okay, cool. Yep, we're going with red. It's decided. Okay, cool. When did I get this guitar? I got it in 2019. Yeah, I've had this for a little while. It's a good guitar. Okay, red. The evils of red. Okay, so I'm going to draw two strings. So E and the A string. Okay, so this is going to be fret. Start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's do up to 8 frets. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have our A note here, and then we've got our E note here, and then we've got E. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, so I can't count. I am special. I'm not even. My mind is all over the place. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I need to readjust a few things to make things easier for you. Okay, we are getting there now. Okay, does everyone understand what I have drawn? So here we have the low E string here, and we know that the 5th fret on the low E is the A string, and we know that the 3rd fret on the A string is a C, and the 7th fret is an E. Does that all make sense? Big man ting. Okay, cool. Good. Now, remember, there are other notes in the scale. So let's go right back to the beginning. What are the notes in the A minor scale? It's nice and easy. If you know the first 7 letters of the alphabet, you'll have no issues. Unless we're talking about like the Korean or Greek alphabets, then it's a completely different matter. Yep, there we go. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then it goes back to A and continues on. Okay, cool. So let's figure out. So let's use the fretboard now. Let's pretend this is a guitar. Okay, so we have our root note here, and I'm just going to highlight where it is. All right, so the first fret on E is what note? Do you know what note is here? The first fret on E? Yes. Yep, there we go. F's in the chats. F in the chat, yeah? So F in the chat, bruv. So we have an F here, and the F is E on the first fret. Okay, so that's F. Okay, now we know where F is, so what about G? G is what fret on E? On the E string, where is G? Which fret? There we go, third fret. So we've got a G here. Okay, I'm going to use two colors when I move to the A string, just so it makes things easier. All right, so already, actually no, I'm not going to go there yet. All right, where's the B note on the E string? Which fret? Yep, big man ting. Lud has got it. There we go. So already we've identified a few notes. Now I'm going to use light blue for this. Okay, so these are the notes we've already identified. Okay, so I'm going to rub these out because we're going to do notes on the A string now. So these are some of the notes in the A minor scale that you can play on the E string up to fret number 8. Now, what about A? So we know that third fret of A is C. And then we also know that the 7th fret of A is a very, very wonky E. Okay, so let's make this a bit more clear. I can't write upside down. Okay, cool. Now, A, where is B? Yep, there we go, 2nd fret. Ultra Locrian flat second scale sounds like a myth. Sounds like a myth. It probably exists, but there's much better ways to explain modes. We don't need to talk about modes today. All right, cool. And then what's after C and which fret? Where would that be? So C, we want to find D now. Plus, with all these scales and everything, it's all based around intervals. So if you know all the intervals, then you basically know every scale. Then you can like make your own, and that's kind of cooler. But you guys are all right. Yeah, 5th fret on A is D, and then we want to find the other F because we know where B, C, D, and E are. Now, where's F going to be on the A string? There we go. Cool. Okay. So yeah, like we're doing two things here. We're learning black metal, and we're also learning the fretboard. So with this newfound knowledge, yeah. Oh yeah, we should yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, we'll put the C on the E here. Let's use the red pen. So this is how we get black metal, because all we're going to do is, I'm going to use a different color here. Let's use orange. We haven't used orange yet. So yeah, what we can do is like basically combine all the notes together. So we can start off with like the A to the E, then move it down to the C, then move it up to the D, then change it to the B with the D, then B to the D, B to the C. In a practical example, what I literally just explained is the way you move around chords in these diad black metal riffs. Because everything should be making sense now, and this is where the aha moment should happen if I've taught this correctly. But if we go here, A to C, A to E, so we're moving between some notes in the A scale. So we're staying on A, so we've got A and C, A and E, A and D, G, G and B there, then G and D. And then that's how you're going to... Anyway, we're going to stay on track with the black metal. That's how you make diad riffs by using notes in the key. You start off with one note. So we're going to start off here with the A, and then we add our C note there. A to E, A to D, A to F. You know, you can go to your C note here, add an E here, mix and match there. You got B and the F there if you want a bit more tension. When to use which interval? That's a very good question. And the answer is whenever you like, whatever you think sounds cool. There's some certain notes that sound good. If you're using like certain thirds and stuff, but really it's entirely up to you. It's like go by your ear rather than what interval it should be. Leave the working outs afterwards. Just work entirely by ear. Root jumps. You know, A to B works. A to C. A to F. You know, all of them can work, and that's the answer. There's no wrong or right way of doing things. It's just suggestions, but just use your ears. Like that. That's the thing. Like the less you think about like the music theory side of things, the easier it is to write music, because if you're thinking like, oh, I'm going to use an A minor here, and then I'm going to use a G major here, and then let's use an F power chord here. You know, that might sound all right. But then it could sound cool if you're just like relaxing. And just letting the riff just move. Yeah, just if you're going through a creative block, then work around the scale, because you could even get stuff that sounds cooler. Then you get like the more evil shit. So yeah, that's basically, there's no rules to any of this. It's just like what do you think sounds good, and what can you make work, basically. Yeah, like the issue with the scales is that it's a very safe thing. Hello Ahmed, what's up? Yeah, it's very, very easy and kind of like safe to keep things in a scale, which is fine. You know, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just like you don't want to use it all the time, because then you fall into these same kind of traps and ideas and stuff. It's like it's more difficult to make your songs and riffs sound different if you're following the same kind of patterns. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, hello, Renee. Yeah, and that's the thing, like when to choose the next chord. It's just like you can start off with like the notes in the scale, like yeah, start there, but then you know it could sound quite cool. Instead of going to C major, go to C minor. You know, mix and match between some of the evil chords and the happy chords, because that's what Dissection did all the time. You know, they added in that little bit of tension towards the end. You know, all that kind of stuff gets super happy, and then however, and yeah, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's the messing around part is the most fun part of making music. It's when you become too calculated, then that's big when it becomes when it gets really annoying as well, because you can apply like everything that we've learned in here is it can also be applied in the same way to these like those pedal, like Sargeist worship riffs, for example. All that stuff. So yeah, it's all the same thing. Like you start on the A note, and then you've got other notes that you're using in the scale. A, C, A, B, C here. Then you got D here. Then you can have like the F here. and then use like some of the same notes, and then that's how you get like that traditional kind of Finnish-esque style of riff. Is it necessary to learn music theory for black metal, or can I just try and play power chords and tremolo picking? I mean, if you want to stick to like the power chords and the tremolo picking, it's fine, but your music's going to be very one-dimensional if it's just like one sound all the time. The thing is with music theory is that it should never take over your writing. It should only help you understand it. F sharp 5 flat 7. Yeah, like with the changing key stuff, let's not talk about that today, but the simple answer is use your ear, because like there's times where you can go from like an E based riff, then move up to F, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, and that's the thing, the rhythms really make the rhythms really make the songs. I don't want to talk too much about rhythms today because I want to keep it more on the notes side of things as opposed to rhythms. But yeah, this stream will be able to view later on. I keep all the streams on the channel. Yeah, I forgot what I was going to talk about. Yeah, the rhythms, because like the rhythms give life to the riff, because if you want to keep it constant tremolo picking, that's fine. But if you want to make it like Blasphemer is a master at this. He's just like using those chords. And adding a bit more kind of like bounce to the things. What was that Mayhem song? Crystallized Pain and Deconstruction. So cool, so bouncy, so out there. And 1349 do that kind of stuff all the time. Yeah, cool bouncy riffs. Just like cool playing stuff. Abigor, Nuck, I don't know that band. Abigor, I've never really learned any that kind of stuff. But no, I've been playing guitar for many years now, since 2006. Yeah, nearly 19 years. Yeah, like Blasphemous playing. It's just awesome, man. I can't even replicate what like half of the stuff he does. But I can replicate 1349 though, because just because I'm that bitch, I guess. But yeah, like 1349 is a good A7X. I've not listened to that A7X song, but with 1349, like just so much cool stuff. Like even like Chasing Dragons, that it's like a snare roll. Yeah, practicing with an unplugged guitar is convenient sometimes, because what a lot of people tend to do in the black metal scene is like overly distort the guitars so it hides all the shoddiness out of the playing. Because if it sounds good clean, then it's going to sound really good distorted. Use the table. Okay, I'm not going to talk too much about solos because I am intent on doing a video on black metal solos. I just need a day where me and a friend can sit down and actually like talk about it properly. That's literally the only holdup, is availability. But solos, for example, if you're playing the A minor chord, use notes around that. Use the A minor scale, basically. If you're going from A minor to A flat minor, use the Indian, not the Indian thing, scale. Yeah, reading the comments at the same time. Indian black metal bands. I know Indian death metal bands. there was one Indian black metal band that tried to get in touch with me years back, and they wanted me as a member. And I was like, no, I can only do session. And then they're like, okay, so you're in the band now, and we want to write some songs. And I'm like, dude, when did I agree to this? Yeah, 1133, no idea. The only number bands that I know are 1349 and 1914. Yeah, and oh, Philly Noctis from Delhi. All right, cool. DM me your band from on Instagram. Instagram is here, and then I'll give it a listen. I never got into liturgy personally, but yeah, like the unique notes in the scales, like this is where it gets kind of a bit out there, because you can use, you know, like some of the chromatic notes and these weird notes, like for example, you know, that extra A sharp note there could sound really cool. Yeah, like Dirt I'm Scarred, like the only song that I know of them well enough to like talk about some of the music theory stuff is Traces of Reality, and it's been about a year since I played that. How do you go going? I covered this. It's gonna come back to me. Yeah, I need to practice this one. Yeah. Damn, I've forgotten the riff. Ah, there we go. Yeah, I've totally forgotten Trace of Reality. I covered it. That's really annoying. I've covered this and I've forgotten it. There we go. And then yeah. I have the tab somewhere. But yeah. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. Boom, but. Yeah. Yeah, Tracy of Reality. I really need to replay that because I haven't played that song since the cover I made of it. Bloody hell, but yeah. Oh yeah, Myself Above All. Yeah, because Shalva was saying that that was all Traces of Reality inspired. He's a massive Diatonic fan. Oh yeah, each roll's got far and wild. I messed that one up though because Horaj was talking about the riff, and instead of it being like super fast picking, it's just triplets. All that stuff. Yeah, that's a cool one. Yeah. War metal theory. Blasphemy Archcoat. You want the war metal lesson, yeah? I'll give you the war metal lesson. I can do it in 10 seconds. Low tuning. 01010134. That's war metal. And then if you want to, 4512, then back to the riff. I could crank the amp, but then you won't be able to hear it because my mic and YouTube and Google or whatever decide to overly compress the stream so you can barely hear the guitars. But that's War Metal 101, man. Just take the lowest tuning you have. 01010134. You don't even need to play power chords. You can play triads if you want to, and then you've got that. So that's why I haven't really made a war metal lesson, because it's 20 seconds rather than yeah. The reason why I play Dean is because they have the most comfortable guitar necks that I've ever played, and I can't play, like, if I play this Explorer, for example, I can play it, but as soon as I get to the hyperspeed stuff, I'm already feeling like weird, like it's just been like a weird thing. It's just like it's not as comfortable if I were to play like that Chasing Dragons riff on the Orange V, for example, because it just sits nicer. And then for my hand, yeah, it's just easier for my hand. My whole arm and wrist is more relaxed rather than it being like here. It's more down here, so it's more of a natural thing. 3 notes per string on a 7 is the same thing as 3 notes per string on a 6. If you mean like tapping stuff, or that kind of stuff, it's all the same. Anyway, let's get back to some more theory topics, because I wanted to focus on diads today. Let's kind of talk about the weird kind of intervals as well. Let's talk about intervals, because this is more critical black metal stuff. We'll talk about a few. We'll go up to the first 6 frets, and then I need to close the stream because I have other stuff to do. Right, okay. So these are all going to be all right. Let's start off with black. All right, we're back to the whiteboard. So we know our root note is going to be our starting note. Okay, so we're going to go up the first 5 frets. That's fret 1, 2. Actually, I'm going to write frets there as well. Okay, so there's our root note there. We're going to be going from the first fret, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and you know what? Let's just go up to 7. Okay. 1349 riffs are crazy, and they're the best band ever. Okay, cool. So we already know these intervals. frets 3, 4, and 7. Does anyone remember? So if we start on any note, and if we go 3 frets up, what is that interval chord? This is right at the beginning of the stream. If you've been here this long, right at the beginning of the stream. Oh no, I got pen on my clothing. Has everyone forgotten? Get back to your notes. Has literally everyone forgotten? How many frets are there between? What's the name of the 3 fret distance? I talk about it in all my videos. I've spoken about this for years. Okay, no one remembers. Let's use a different pen. So let's use green. Let's go. So if you start on fret 0 and you go 3 notes up, you have an interval called the minor third. Okay, small m and a 3. Okay, so if we go 1 fret up, does anyone remember what the next interval is? Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Come on. This is stuff we covered. Yes. There we go. We got a major third. So triangle 3. So triangle is major. Okay. Cool. And then for the 7th fret, if we start on any note and we go 7 frets up, what is this interval chord? We'll talk about the perfect 4th shortly. But yeah, if we go 7 frets up from our root note, yep, cool, perfect fret, perfect 5th. P5. P5. Okay, cool. So if you watch my videos on dark harmonies, yeah, let's see if you've been watching my videos, bruv. So I talk about all of these like fret distances in the dark harmonies videos. The most recent proper video on the channel, I believe. Yeah, riff lesson coming tomorrow, by the way. So a 1 fret distance from our root note is an interval called the flat second. All right. So the flat second is a very, very cool interval because it helps you make riffs. Let's use this guitar now. This is in C sharp. Makes riffs like this. You know, these are 1 fret distances. Going up a flat second, back and flat second. Or you could even go, you know. Or the I'm Abomination stuff. Yeah, Slayer did it a lot. No, diminished chords are 2 stacks of minor thirds. So you got a minor third here and another one here, as opposed to 1 fret distances. So that is your flat second. Now, after the flat second, we have our natural second. So the natural sign looks like this. It's a bit of a weird one. Natural second. Okay, so that is a 2 fret distance. Okay, so a 2 fret distance. That's 1 fret, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Okay, so 2 fret distances, they're kind of cool. You can like, do you like some kind of old school Bathory stuff? You know, flat seconds here. Sorry, natural seconds, flat seconds. Yeah, it sounds a bit like dissection, that bit. So there's your natural second. I didn't even spell natural properly. Oh, that was the wrong green. Anyway, whatever. Okay, so now a 5-fret distance. This is called the perfect fourth. Perfect fourth. P4. Let's put all the interval of things and number brackets. Yep. So you got P4. That's the perfect fourth. That's a 5-fret distance. And then probably the most important one in all of heavy metal music, let's use red. That man like Tony Iommi decided to sort it out. Create this. This is the flat 5. Flat 5. Also known as tritone. Yeah, exactly. The tritone. The reason why it's called a tritone is because a natural second is also called a tone. Flat seconds are called semitones. Yeah, so you got ST and tone. Yeah. 3 tones, tritone. So 2 times 3, basically, 6. Yeah, equals 6 frets. So that's the tritone interval, which is the most important one for all heavy metal music. Always, everyone's used it. That freezing moon riff. Or tritones. E, 6 frets up to the B flat, then back to your E. Even Black Sabbath. Yeah, and you can also build like tritone chords. And do all that old school Thorn stuff. So yeah, look, that's going to be the black metal music theory stream. I'm probably going to do some more of these in the future. So yeah, we're talking about dyads, and yeah, so in the beginning of the stream we talked about how to create like the more kind of traditional black metal stuff. I might go over triads in the next stream, but yeah, in the next couple I'll give you guys this to just look at quickly. So yeah, has anyone got any questions before we finish up? Any questions about anything? Riffs or anything? Anything you want to go over in the channel? Yeah, anything that you want covered in the channel? Because I'm going to do a bit more of a lesson on harmonies, that more dissection-y Swedish melodeath kind of thing. I'm going to be going through some stuff of that soon. Yeah, you can do that. A whole step up before sliding into the tritone. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, Immolation are a cool band. Yeah. Norwegian stuff. What kind of Norwegian stuff? Because Norwegian, like the Norwegian black metal kind of thing, is based around but it means it depends on the band really. Because if you're talking about Mayhem, it's based around like tritones and power chords and minor chords. Norwegian melodic stuff is, I mean, like Satyricon's a good example. Yeah, but like melodic stuff of what is normally considered to be like melodic black metal is mostly diatonically based and Swedish, as opposed to like the Norwegian stuff. Oh, Weezer. Man, like Weezer. All right, cool. One more minute, and then any final questions before I finish up, because I need to leave. No questions? Have you guys played the new Doom? Have you guys played Doom: The Dark Ages? That game is the best game I've played in ages. That's like my favorite PS5 game. That's the hardest, coolest game. Yeah, that's a great game. Next stream, I don't know when the next stream is. I normally do these on a whim when Doom Sigil. Dude, I haven't played Doom Sigil. It's gonna be. I haven't played that one yet. That's a kick in the teeth. I've heard it's so evil. There's no super shotgun in that as well. But yeah, the next stream, I don't know. I do these as and when I feel like it, and if I have like an evening free. And then yeah, but they're probably going to be on like a Tuesday or a Saturday or whatever. I don't know. Just keep an eye out on like all the socials and everything, like on Instagram or whatever. I normally just do like announcements on there, and then it just happens. Or if you're in the Discord, then yeah, join the Discord. There's like a link in the description. There should be to join the Discord. Jump on the Discord. Follow me on Instagram and everything, and just reach out. Like it's totally cool. But yeah, cool. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your evening and have a good one. Take it easy, guys.